Hello and welcome back to the only show that was really hoping to find out more of Oppo Rancisis' species before we found out that it was spelled T-A-L-E-S of the Jedi. I'm Max.
I'm Matt.
I'm Luke.
And this is Force for Thought.
God, Tales of the Jedi. That's a phenomenal joke.
He has a tail. He's just one big
He
tail.
slithers.
He's like a snake man.
Yeah, he's a snake man.
We're currently reading The Living Force, so it's the most Oppo Rancisis content that I think we ever got, right?
Yes, I would agree.
I can't think of anything else. So it only seemed appropriate, given that and the fact that we just finished the Acolyte, that we do a Jedi ranked episode. Now, obviously, there's a lot of Jedi to get through, and once again, this also feels like one where our top 5 would just have significant overlap in it, so we once again thought it would be appropriate to do
I don't know.
I
I feel like
ranking. You got a couple dark horses?
Oh, I don't, but I guarantee Luke does.
Oh, yeah.
For my top 5, I mean, no, not really. You still got to include Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker in a top 5 no matter what,
Interesting. All right.
Yeah,
would you not?
We'll see.
Interesting.
I think we're just waiting for a little bit of Kit Fisto content. We'll see. We'll see where we end up putting him. But
I do like Kit Fisto.
Good. All right. So last time we did this, we did it for bounty hunters, and it was kind of hard to just like start randomly placing them on. So I thought start by let's kind of go through the categories here, because once again it's a standard tier list. That's the top of the list there, and then A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. I think we just start by going through real quick and just putting one Jedi in each tier, just to get a baseline of where we know where the tiers are at.
All right.
So
this is debatably more hard, I'd say.
Well, it's just
I
for the
agree.
first what is it, 6? Just for this first 6, then we can kind of start going through randomly.
There's no easy way about it. I don't think.
Well, I think the first couple will be easy, right? So let's start with the S tier. I feel like
Real quick, are you still angry about Fennec Shand?
I wasn't angry.
Sorry,
I
are you?
I was still angry about
I thought it was a
Are
disservice.
you angry about?
Yeah, I think Fennec Shand was still rated far too high for a tier list that has my name attached to it.
It's like my reputation's on the line with this,
Yeah,
guys.
I was like, what does it say
People
about
are
us,
gonna
Max?
see this. So starting with the S tier, just to throw one on the board, I feel like I can kind of safely nominate Luke Skywalker.
Oh, all right.
Interesting. We'll circle back to Evekoff.
Okay.
Luke Skywalker, any dispute with
Seconded.
Luke being an S tier?
S tier.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, I feel like that's...
Wait, which version? Oh, yep. Green saber, black robes, S tier.
Yes, I did choose the pictures very intentionally.
Okay, good. I saw the Kit Fisto one, and that is...
Because there were a lot of
the best.
other like pre-made of these tiers for Star Wars Jedi that I was looking at, and I was just like, this is a weird fucking list. Like, it didn't have all the right ones in my opinion, or it had like way too many. And I'm like looking at like concept art from like one of the novels in the 80s or something. And I'm like, I don't
or
know
the
who
right
this
photos.
is.
I do the same thing with lists of like top movies or something. I'm like, I can't suffer to look at this poster that someone else decided on.
So moving on to A tier.
Okay.
Now, this one might get a little pushback from Luke. I'm curious what you think. I would say an easy A tier would be Qui-Gon Jinn. So the S tier, those are like your goats, right?
Yeah.
The S tier has to be very limited. Your A tier has to be pretty much top of the line. Like, that's like a very, very good Jedi, just a step below goat level.
It's hard because how much credence are we putting into raw screen time? If Qui-Gon Jinn was in more movies, he would certainly be an S tier. The quality of his character, his action, his capabilities, his fight choreography, everything about him is top of the line.
I know.
He just dies in the first movie that he's in.
And I'd love
that's
to
not his fault.
I'd love to say less is more with him, but my God, is he the best part of Living Force to me also. Like, I just want more of Qui-Gon in it.
We get a lot of Qui-Gon in a lot of the books and stuff too, though. As we go through, we are going to be hurting a lot by a lack of content for some of these characters. And just to emphasize here, in case the viewer doesn't understand, this ranking is completely arbitrary. We are not really ranking on any sort of objective criteria. In my head, I'm thinking like, okay, how well do they uphold the Jedi Code? How cool are they? Any significant accomplishments?
Ultimately,
Creature
do
design,
I like them?
lightsaber design, like just literally anything and everything.
So lightsaber design, I guess A tier then, right?
Yeah, his lightsaber design definitely pulls him down. I would be on board for pausing on Qui-Gon Jinn. I think we could find a shoe-in for A tier that we're all more comfortable with.
I would say
who would be a good A tier?
I think honestly, I do think Qui-Gon is the perfect A tier, and this is something that we can also move around. It's not concrete yet. I think I would say A tier because, like you said, Max, there's very few people that can be S tier, and I would say in this list there's maybe 1 to 2 others. And
Can you scroll down a bit? Can I see? I'm having a hard time.
Oh shit!
Thinking who else can be A tier.
I didn't see. There's so many more people than I thought. Wow. Oh man, this is way harder now.
I think I would put Cal Kestis as a solid A tier.
Interesting.
A tier.
I would not
Okay.
put him in A tier personally.
I don't think I would either. I think there's an argument for A tier. I think
You would put him lower?
Yeah.
but barely though, which is why I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, in my head I had him around B tier,
Same.
and yeah,
All right. I don't see Jackie. What about Jackie in A tier?
Jackie's
I'm sure
right
she's
here.
on there. Oh, why use that
She-
picture? That's why I didn't see it. Matt, are you comfortable with Jackie in A tier?
No. Are you?
Oh no! All right. Take her away.
Well, where do you think Jackie lines up? We just finished The Acolyte. We're big fans of Jackie.
Are we?
She was a good
Yeah,
Jedi. She was true to the code through and through. She died a hero, held her own against Chimere. I think she was one of the highlights of the show for me.
She had like one of the best lines. We're not defined by what we lost. We're defined by what we survive.
I would.
She has that cool lightsaber training sequence with all the other younglings with the Boken
That's
saber.
way
And then
too close.
also after that scene, she has a scene with Osha, and she holds her Boken saber like at her wrist because she like doesn't have an actual holster like a sword would in a
Yeah.
ranger or a samurai. She just holds it down there, and that's a very good safety conscious thing that I've been implementing with my son about how we hold our lightsabers when we're not actively playing.
That's nice.
I'm a
So
big fan of
the
Jackie.
reason-
Her design,
There's no
actor.
If we're even debating Qui-Gon Jinn in A tier, that is no way. Are you joking?
I would suggest maybe B tier because in
For
my head,
Jackie?
like I said, S tier.
We
Yeah,
got
I
a
think
table
she's an above
Jackie. That's
average
insane.
Jedi.
That's insane.
I think
All right, table Jackie.
Yeah, table. This is bananas. If we're doing Cal Kestis B and Qui-Gon an A, Jackie. Oh my god, I can't. I mean, Jackie was fine, but I
think-
forgot like her and Yord were even in the Acolyte. No, don't do that.
How dare you?
Yeah,
I think A tier is like your borderline top, like not quite goat
We
level.
got- okay.
B tier is still above average Jedi.
All right,
I
what
think
about Plo
C
Koon for A tier?
I think C tier is like just like your average Jedi. D
Yeah.
tier is like a Jedi that needs a little bit of help, and F tier is like this dude is barely a Jedi.
I think we're getting on the wrong track. I think Qui-Gon is a perfect A tier. Plo Koon, who I love, I think is a solid B tier.
I agree with that. Both. So I say we jump to that.
Yes,
I think
this is a
Plo
good
Koon
basis.
is a
All
good
right,
B tier.
I was worried coming into the night that I was going to want to rank everyone a lot higher than you guys. So I
It
guess I
seems
should.
like it will be that
I was
way.
setting my expectations to be exactly this, so I shouldn't be that disgruntled right away.
Well, again, as a baseline, then we can move
Sure,
everyone around.
Sure.
Plo Koon, super cool creature design, a lot of good content in the Clone Wars. As soon as you see him in the Phantom
Yes.
Menace, you're intrigued. And we get a good amount of live action content with him. Actually, you see
I
him in
love Plo
Geonosis,
Koon,
and you
who-
see him.
You know I love the Plo Koon action figure, and you gave me shit because he's not Kit Fisto. Because my brother Mike had Kit Fisto, and I had Plo Koon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember you said that before. Yeah,
But he's cool as hell.
he is cool, and I would like him higher, but okay, all right.
And then moving on to just someone, a placeholder more or less for C tier, just to get an idea. To me, C tier is just like a very average Jedi. You're just kind of like, okay, yeah, like that's a Jedi. To
Mhm.
me, someone like that would be like Ayla Secura. I have nothing against Ayla
Mhm.
Secura. I like her. No reason to like her more than any other Jedi, in my opinion.
I think she's appropriately a little bit worse than Plo Koon, so I'm okay with C tier for her.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
She's
yeah,
definitely the hottest Jedi, right?
She does have that going for her.
Maybe Obi-Wan. That's her only competition.
Obi-Wan and Attack the Clones.
Yeah,
Specifically?
or Quinlan Voss. He seems like a handsome guy.
He
I'm
does. but he's
partial to
only
the dreads,
animated.
though.
Yeah, you are a big Dreads fan.
Attracted to yourself.
All right. So let me scroll down here. Who do you guys think for a good D tier list? Jedi.
I'm a Gundai.
I agree. The guy's
All
name
right.
is literally "I'm a gonna die."
He is the sacrificial lamb of the Jedi Order. Yes.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Yeah, let's do it.
F tier. Been waiting to get to this one. Barisofi. She sucks.
Yeah. Screw her, right?
Tales of the
Yeah.
Jedi did her well,
Tales
but
of the Empire.
yeah, Tales of the Empire. But it's not like she was like misguided and kind of left the Jedi. Like she
Absolute
bombed
dingus.
the temple. She is a terrorist. That gets very overlooked in terms of a lot of fans. when they're like, oh, well, she was kind of justified in this regard. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
she's kind of justified, but you have to be very, very justified to bomb a civilian population.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a cool move for a Jedi.
Nope.
I certainly agree with that. I was gonna, in my head, maybe entertain D tier just because of her redemption in Tales of the Empire, but I think that's a solid candidate for F tier. Not
F it.
to keep going with the F tier, but I do want to point out that Mog is on this list as well.
Yes, please.
I saw him.
Mog,
Okay.
Mog.
So we
What do you say?
Are we
F
good with
tier!
adding Mog to F tier?
I suppose.
We didn't even see him jump out of the fucking plane.
I don't know what color lightsaber he has.
Exactly,
He-
F tier.
He was kind of just a wet blanket for the. Yeah.
He's the most un-Jedi Jedi I've ever seen. Like, no wonder why they failed, letting people like Mog in.
Okay. I know we're putting him in F tier. I want him in D tier.
No, Luke.
Well,
He did
When
his
we come to the
best.
end-
He
when we
followed-
come
he
to
did
the
nothing
end.
wrong.
we can do that thing again where we each can move one person. If you want to waste your one
I
on Mog.
don't
Please,
want to waste
you
it
want-
on
yes,
Mog.
please do it.
All right, so that kind of gives us a good distribution of what we're looking at here. So
Yes,
S tier,
I'd
Luke
say so.
Skywalker. A tier, Qui-Gon Jinn. B tier, Plo Koon. C tier, Aayla Secura. D tier, Amagundi. F tier, Barriss Offee, and Mog. Just to give our listeners an example of what we think an appropriate list would be so far. Now we can get into a lot of the kind of trickier ones and nuanced ones. You guys just want to start going at random, or is there any that jump out that you really want to discuss?
I'm fine going at random, or Matt, if you have any in particular, or
I
in
was-
order.
Matt threw out Eth Koth, and I do want to talk about him.
Okay, yeah.
Do you? Because you're pointing to Agent Kohler.
Thank you.
Ah,
Racist.
no.
Racist.
Against the Zabraks. Eth Koth
Yeah.
is a good Zabrak Jedi, which
Yes.
I think is interesting. He is only in The Phantom Menace. He is not in Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith because it is not him that goes up against Palpatine. However, we do see a lot of really cool, not a lot, literally one issue of a comic, Eth Koth in the Charles Soule run of Darth
Is
Vader.
it just one issue? I thought he at least had his own whole
I'm
story.
Now you're
like
making
5
me
or 6
second
issues.
guess. I think he like kicks off the story arc, but I believe he's only in one issue. But it's a really cool issue because it's all about how he left the Order to start a family, and then it was post Order 66, and he fought Darth Vader in order for his family and child to escape, who were eventually taken by the Inquisitorius. It's good stuff. So I would say
I have a ranking as well. Do you have a ranking? We can all say that's
I
count of
do.
3.
It's heavily based on the end of the Living Force, though, so I can't. I'm not going
Oh.
to talk about
Ooh.
that.
You have information
this
that
is-
Max and I don't have.
Yeah,
or-
this is really unfortunate that we're doing this right now.
based on everything I said, I was going to lean towards B tier,
I'm in C tier for Eth
maybe
Koth.
C tier.
I don't think he's Plo Koon level. That's the biggest thing. Eth Koth, I don't think Plo Koon level.
But I don't think Aayla Secura level 2.
You don't think
because
so?
I think we get a little bit more heartfelt moments from him out of
Then
the
we do
comics.
Aayla Secura
But
lower?
it's such a niche, though. It's such a niche. So that's why
I vote B.
I'm good
You
with
vote
C.
B?
I'm good with B. I think
I'm
either
a
one.
hard C.
I'm a hard B.
All right, let's see you guys rock, paper, scissors this out.
Oh, I'm not ending with that. I'd rather lose on C
You-
like a respectable gentleman.
All right, we'll do C tier. However,
You remember this, though. I gave you this.
then I also wanted to bring that up because I
He's a
do
dangerous
also
man to have favors for.
I do want to go straight into Agent Kohler because
Okay.
Agent Kohler looks identical to Eth Koth.
Yes. Definitely
And-
worse.
Worse in every regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that's cool is he tried to arrest Emperor Palpatine.
Tried.
And
He didn't
very
even
quickly,
parry a single blow.
No, very
Parrying
quickly
a single
died.
blow is an incredible feat, and he would be probably S tier if he did, but he didn't.
We're
so
going F
It sounds
tier?
like he's not F, but I would. Well, maybe F.
F tier,
I was
right?
gonna say D. I was just gonna say definitely below Eth Koth. I think Eth
Yes.
Koth deserves a spot above Agent Kohler.
I agree. and I
I would
think he's
vote
too.
F.
Yeah, he's too close to Eth Koth then.
It also just pisses me off that he's not Eth Koth. Because I remember
Yeah,
growing
right?
up,
But
and
at
it's
the
like, why aren't you just
But
Eth Koth?
At the same time, are we not glad?
Because
Because
he,
in retrospect, he would have been so much lower now.
yeah, I guess that's true, but
It's like, thank God he really dodged a bullet.
but no, it's just
Or
like
a saber.
Was he
Damn it.
just the diversity hire, just the token Zabrak on the council when Eth Koth left? They were like, we really need another one.
maybe
Yeah.
it was like the Kit Fisto thing where they couldn't get the same actor from The Phantom Menace, and so they were like, all right, let's just get another guy and dress him up like a Zabrak. And they looked at him and were like, he just looks too different. Actually, we got to give him a new name also.
What if this is someone else? Okay. That's said.
I'm also like, yes, go
I
on.
know I just really shat on Agent Kohler for not doing anything in that fight
Mhm.
against Palpatine. That said, I do like Stacey Tin a lot more than Agent Kohler.
I have loved Stacey Tin always.
Okay.
His character design is exceptional.
Yes.
He is like my least favorite part of the Living Force, though.
Damn it,
For
really?
for a book that's about all these characters, he's still barely in it.
Damn,
he's in
that
very little.
really bums me
I was
out. For being
bummed- I was
100 pages, I
bummed
was
too.
really excited to say Stacey Tin.
Yeah, we see a lot of other cool Jedi, and a lot of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but there was not that much Stacey Tin, and not nearly enough for me to sway any opinion I had about him before. So I'd be comfortable with D tier just because he's a cooler design than Agent Kohler. They are functionally the same character to me. I guess that's not true. He's in The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones also, and he always looked cool. I could be convinced for C, but I would vote D.
I was going to say C.
All right, let's do C. I vote C as well. Because he's not, in my mind, I've always lumped together almost as a group, Stacey Tin, Plo Koon, and Kit Fisto. That is just my bias in the fact that I have those action figures, and those would be the ones who would go off on
A
their
lot
own
of this is
missions.
based on action figures for me, too. Stacey
Exactly.
Tin was a great action figure to play with.
Absolutely. Stacey Tin, loved him. With that being said, I would always pick Kit Fisto and Plo Koon, spoilers, above Stacey Tin.
Yes, I would be. Kit Fisto will not be falling in C or below. So
Correct.
We don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
All right. How do you guys feel about Yaddle?
You
Pro.
know I love Yaddle as back in the day in like 2005, more of a meme. Before memes were a thing, I guess. But I legitimately like Yaddle.
Yeah, I like her. She's great in Tales of the Jedi. Great in the High Republic. She's in some High Republic stuff.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm mostly just going off of Tales of the Jedi.
she's
That
great in Tales
really
of the
boosted her
Jedi.
a lot,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I would make a push for B to A.
Okay, I was gonna say
Definitely-
C. I like Yaddle a lot, but again,
She has dialogue. None of the other people in C have dialogue. That's got to at least elevate her above them.
I was actually going to agree with Matt. I think C tier is what,
Yeah.
about
C.
what I was looking at.
like I like Yaddle a lot, but I don't know if I like her more than or as equal as Plo Koon. That's my thing too. We set these bases.
Yeah, we did. I definitely like her as much as I like Plo Koon.
Dang. All right.
I'd probably like her more just because she has more content. But Max,
Drinking my space pouch. Matt, what the hell are these?
I'm not you have to guess.
I don't like this game.
But yes, you do. You love games.
I do love games,
For
but I
the
don't
listener-
like being told to drink or eat something and then tell me what I think it is.
For the listener / viewer, I gave a space pouches based on our favorite color of our lightsabers. Mine is green,
yellow.
Red.
which is yellow, and Max's is red.
And we have no idea what we're drinking. Luke and I are fairly certain it's Mountain Dew, and Matt assures us that it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mountain Dew.
It's piss.
So
Yaddle
I
and
think
B.
I think B. I think B.
All right, I'm okay with B.
Yeah, I don't know. Her Tales of the Jedi episode was just too dang good for me.
Okay.
Even though she didn't really do anything. I mean, she kind of caught on to what Dooku was doing, but then died pretty quickly after. But I think we also
He
said
is a
that
Sith
Dooku was
Lord.
one of the best
Yeah.
duelists in another episode. So
yeah, it's
you know,
a little hard.
that's fair. All right.
And she was also pulling her punches. She was trying to get him to come home. She wasn't going for kill shots.
Moving on. Let's do another person who would probably be in the F tier if not for some great comic content once again, and that is Jocasta Nu, the Jedi librarian.
Mhm.
Such fantastic content. But yeah, I really hate her in Attack of the Clones. She's
Yeah,
so
she is
arrogant.
The
It's like
worst.
But
Kiadi
how much
Mundi
is-
levels of pompous.
She
She's
has a
also-
great arc in the Darth Vader Charles Soule comic story once again,
I remember that.
but how far does that really boost her? Because I agree she's an
Far.
easy F tier if not for that.
She's also so annoying in all the games. I feel like you have to go visit her and talk to her, and she is the worst.
That's because she's in the library. You have
Yes,
to go
and
to the
it's
library,
annoying every
essentially.
time you have, and it's like that. Every time you go to the library, it's like, well, do I really want to be doing this in a Star Wars game? And then you go and you have to meet her again, and it's like, fuck.
The Jedi librarian is simultaneously the lamest job in the Jedi Order and the coolest job in the Jedi
Absolutely.
Order. So I don't know how to feel about that.
It's
So I
the-
guess it's about a wash.
It's the equivalent of being a kicker on a football team. It's like,
Are you really a part of the team?
I think she's an obvious F tier. However, the comic content boosts her at least one tier. So I would say D tier.
I'm still holding F.
I guess it's a
It's up to
fruitless event to push for C then. So D.
What?
If you push for C, that would average out to a D.
Yeah.
Okay. let's see. Moving
Is
on.
it canon that she had a relationship with Count Dooku also?
Oh,
It's a
I
good
don't think
question.
so. What would that have been in? Was that in Dooku, Jedi Lost, or whatever? I haven't read that one.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Didn't
I
you-
might.
This
I might
is the
be
first time
making
I'm
it
ever
up.
No,
hearing
you
of
told
this.
us about this on the podcast before, unless I had a dream about that as well.
Maybe we both had a dream about it.
Maybe.
There's deleted scenes where she like tells Obi-Wan more about Dooku in that scene in the library. But like it doesn't allude to them having a romantic relationship by any means. But I feel like there is something in canon about them being involved in some regard.
When
But,
she's walking away and a Polaroid falls out and it's a naked Duke.
yeah, that
Mark
must have been it.
1987.
What do you guys think about Coleman Trebor?
His character design also carries him
Yeah.
above F.
I agree with that. He's the funniest death.
He was the only one who actually went straight for the head. He tried to go straight for Dooku in the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
He was just one of those guys that were like, I feel like he wanted to die. He was
If-
like, I'm
If
going to shoot my
CC10
shot. And then I'll be
CC10 got
remembered a hero.
elevated so far because of his character design alone. I think Coleman Trebor should be elevated to an equal level as him.
Even though he died pretty easily to blaster fire, it was one guy shooting at him.
Jango Fett's a good shot.
Well, it was with one blaster too. He wasn't even dual wielding.
I would be a solid C or D. Man, this is tough though, because I feel like
Or I feel
I-
like if you're even considering C, I'm gonna go ahead and dig into the C tier for Coleman Trebor. If there's a chance there for him to get into C, I will not let it be because I didn't push hard enough.
I would tell you this. I like him much more than Jackie.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. to me.
Matthew, I feel like you and I have been on the same page this whole time, but we are going to strongly
Listen.
disagree when it comes to Jackie.
I think for the Acolyte, there's too much. It's such fresh in our brains. We got to let it simmer for a little bit. The same thing when a new movie comes out. You know, the person, everyone has that person where they go see a new movie, they go see the newest Marvel movie, and all of a sudden that's like their favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, don't you hate it when people like things?
No, I love when people like things, but it's just like, you're so aware, but like in a year it's gonna change.
This character hasn't existed in the last 3 weeks, though. She died in episode 5.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
true.
That's just so exactly. Well,
Uh,
you know what? I don't know. Maybe Jackie Hart. Nah, it doesn't matter. I don't want to relitigate Jackie yet.
Let's get a couple more on there. Get a couple
We're doing
more on
some
there.
prequel
Let's talk
trilogy.
about the sabered hand. What's his name? That's escaping me right now, which is not good for the cause I'm about to make. What's his name?
Who?
Yeah, Sabered Hand.
The Ahmed Best Jedi.
Oh, Kelleran Beck?
Kelleran Beck.
Ah,
Because
You call him the Sabered Hand? What's that?
that's his
from?
nickname.
That's
from,
awesome.
That's from the
I've never heard
Jedi
that
Temple
before.
Challenge, the game show that he
The
hosted.
Sabered Hand. Yeah, Kelleran Beck.
Where's he on here on this list? I don't even see him.
He's pictured on here
So
somewhere.
I know
There he
I
is.
kind of took the wind out of my own
Ah.
sails, but he was only in one episode of The Mandalorian, and
He
I felt like
was.
I was at risk of having a lot of recency bias when I was singing his praise from the mountaintops, and my love for him has not diminished at all in the last year and a half or 2 years, however long it's been.
Yeah.
I would say definitely a Jedi. The fact that he saved Grogu from Order 66, I think would put him up into B. I would say B tier for Kelleran Beck.
I would say A.
I'd be comfortable with B as well. We don't, because I want to know more about him as well. So it's like A tier is so sacred. I feel like for characters we.
I'm letting out of universe stuff come into it. It's just so cool that it's Ahmed
Ahmed
Best.
Best.
It's
I
so
agree.
cool that he
It
was
is.
the host of Jedi Temple Challenge, and now that is canon to an extent. I like all of that in addition to how he is also a very capable Jedi and really committed to Grogu and younglings. So
I'll
So
put
B
him. I'll
then?
put him at the front of B.
okay, all right, that makes me feel better.
No, okay.
All right. Let's do. Obi-Wan Kenobi's still on here.
He is indeed.
S.
S. Yes. Okay.
S.
Yep,
No.
yep.
No deliberations there. Quinlan Voss is the next one pictured.
Mm-hmm.
B.
Yeah, I was gonna say solid B.
B to C.
I was gonna say B.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do B. All ingredients then.
I think he's only in like 1 or 2 episodes of the
Agreeance.
Clone Wars, but
Agreeance. Nice.
he does have a live action appearance in The Phantom Menace.
Mm.
And Dark Disciple was just a fantastic novel, which was we haven't recorded our review yet for the Bad Batch, but I have very strong feelings on it at the moment. Yoda.
A.
I was gonna say A as well. Yeah.
Hey,
Yep.
You
A.
want S? I
A.
assume.
I thought it was another shoe in for S.
No. When
I,
it's
I
very
like
few
Yoda
and
for
far,
sure, but
I am in the same boat as.
Why?
Luke.
Why? Explain that to me.
I don't know.
It's just a gut feeling. It's just something about. I like Yoda a lot. I think what I like when you're the old wise character, like I feel like, and this is this sounds like I'm boasting about myself, but I'm like I always refer to myself as like the Obi-Wan of like a group, right? Yoda is equally as old, I mean, way older, but equally as wise. But you never say I'm the Yoda of the group. You always say I'm the Obi-Wan of the group. And for
that's
that
interesting.
that reason alone, and no other reasons. No,
I was gonna say it's a relatability thing.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't relate to Yoda at all. I don't identify with him in any of his circumstances like I do with Obi-Wan or Luke. He never really displays any emotion. It just makes me like him less than the person I like most in all of the world. That's not saying I don't like him.
No, it's A tier for sure. A tier. I put him above Qui-Gon Jinn. I know that Luke wouldn't agree with that.
I'd put him right around Qui-Gon
but
Jinn.
I would go.
I'd put Qui-Gon higher.
A tier for sure. I like Yoda. I like kooky Yoda a bit more.
I'm good with A tier. I think that was a good explanation. I agree. I think like Obi-Wan and Luke, who are both an S tier, have like very interpersonal issues with a very fleshed out story. You see some of that character that you just don't see with Yoda. Not that he doesn't have issues. Obviously he does. He fails and he puts himself into exile, but that's not really a story that's been fleshed out quite to the extent of some of the others. That's how I'm going to rationalize it. I think you've convinced me. I'll go ahead. I'll add Yoda to the A tier.
Also, if we're talking like triumphs, like I could see people saying like, oh, but Yoda's the GOAT. Like the GOAT should win fights. Yoda typically
I knew you were gonna say this.
Loses. He lost to Palpatine. Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan have very good track records in terms of defeating Sith Lords, and Yoda does not.
There's a couple that I'm going to have to defer to Luke a little bit more on just because I'm
All right, move over, Luke and Obi-Wan.
Just because I'm not quite up to speed on all of my High Republic lore, but I did want to include some characters from the High Republic. Some I do know of from the comics, such as Stellan Gios, Porter Angle, Avar Chris. I think those are really the only three that I know.
All right, before we get into it, let's do... Because I included Gela Natai, who's from Phase 2 of the High Republic, which I admittedly don't like as much. And I don't have that strong of opinions on her, but she does carry 2 purple lightsabers by default.
I noticed that when I Googled pictures of her.
Wherever we put Mace Windu, we got to put her 1 tier above.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
So just to keep a mental note for that, M+1 for Gela Natai. Let's talk, I guess let's go in order. Avar Chris, the first one. She is... she's one of the best. I won't ask to put anyone in S tier because it's a collaborative list and none of you really know who these characters are. But of the ones that should be in A tier, then Avar is definitely one of them.
Based on what I know, I would agree with that. What is she called? Not the sheriff of Starlight Beacon.
The Marshal of Starlight Beacon. She has great story arcs, falling to the dark side, giving into her hate, overcoming it. She understands the Force as a song, and whenever she is listening to the Song of the Force, she can hear different notes and melodies of the different Jedi and their experience with the Force around her, and that's always super cool.
Someone call that schizophrenic.
And she does kind of break from the code a little bit because doesn't she have a romantic interest with Elzar Mann?
Yes, I am not on that book yet. The current book, the newest book, is called Temptation of the Force, and it's Avar and Elzar on the cover looking pretty smoldery at each other. It does sound saucy. I would put, since we're talking about him, I would put Elzar in B tier. He is a super cool Jedi. He's very charismatic. He also does like to have sex, which makes him cooler than most of the others.
This dude fucks, man.
But he did definitely, assassinate is a strong word, but he killed someone that did not deserve to be killed, and it was a problem. Like, she was in the act of saving all of Starlight Beacon, and then he slaughtered her, and it was kind of his fault.
And he's in
what book was that?
In The Fallen Star. So Starlight Beacon is crashing to the ground.
That was in the comics.
Yeah. So scientist Chancey Yarrow was on Starlight Beacon, and she had worked with the Nile before. She had bad dealings before, but she was working to save Starlight Beacon, and Elzar kind of overheard some questionable comments she was making, and it wasn't exactly clear what side she was working on, and he jumped down. And
this is Smoke Monster territory.
Immediately sliced her in half. It is very similar to the Smoke Monster thing.
Justice for Soul.
You got to be very clear if you're switching sides. You got to let people know.
Yeah, but it wasn't as clear as this. I think Soul was a lot more justified than Elzar. He
Oh boy.
Definitely did not ask
Oh,
any
no, that
questions
moment.
and fully sliced her in half.
The more you talk, the more I want to put him down.
Yeah.
You're
but-
sure this is a B
I'm
tier?
just, yeah, look,
Yeah,
as the
the book before he flies on like a dragon though with his lightsaber, and it's really cool.
All right.
yeah, but
No, I'm sold. That's
It
good.
was, it was badass. And then Stellan is the third of their little trio, and I would
What
put
if-
him back at A.
what if John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln and then started flying? Is that just cancel it out then though?
No, it doesn't cancel it out.
Doesn't
But
cancel
people
it out,
would
but
be
it makes
like,
me like him more.
if he flew away on a dragon, yeah, I think that adds a little bit to the
Like,
lore.
Well, yeah, he deserved it.
He didn't deserve
He
it. but-
deserved it.
No, to get away. Like, yes, if he could fly a dragon, John
Yeah.
Wilkes, go act somewhere else.
Yeah,
That's basically what you're
I might
saying.
be
Yeah, you
thinking
think
that.
people would have hunted him down at the time? They'd be like, "No, I'm
No.
good. He can live wherever he's
I
living with
This
his
man is
dragon."
actually my god now.
I assume that then would transfer into the Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale movie, Rain of Fire, 2002.
You
think
lost me
I've
now.
seen
God damn it.
Too niche.
But Stellan is the last one of this trio, and I would put him back at A tier. He went down with Starlight Beacon, and it was the most incredible moment because it was like such a Jedi moment where he was at the controls and it was crashing towards a city, and he was talking to his droid, and the droid was like, "If we leave for an escape pod now, it'll crash into the city and kill like 10,000 people." And Stellan's like, "No, I won't let it kill anyone. I'm going to hold on to these controls and not let it break and keep the positional thrusters moving it away from the city." And then like a minute later, the droid's like, "All right, you did great. Now if we let go, it'll kill like 10 people." And he still said, "No, I'm going down and we're not letting any single person die." And just like that juxtaposition of like, you saved already, whatever, 9,990 people if you leave right now, but even just letting 10 people die is not worth anything. And
Man, but
I
think
love
about the
that
people
moment.
that
He also has a
probably
crossguard
died
lightsaber.
from him not surviving later in missions. It's another way to look at it. That's all I'm saying.
That is interesting. Are you up to date on Wave 3 of the High Republic?
I am not. I am reading the first young adult novel. I've read the adult novel.
I'm curious. Do you know any spoilers? Because I don't, but I'm wondering if he's actually dead or not. Is that?
Oh, he's dead.
It is
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
His droid brought his lightsaber back to Elzar and Avar, and it was
Oh.
really sad.
All right,
and-
I'm good with it. Keeping him
That
in
had
A
to take
tier.
forever
And
to
Stellan
find.
sees the Force as a constellation of stars and different like nebulas and cosmos, and the book is called The Fallen Star, and the whole time you're thinking it's Starlight
Oh.
Beacon, but he's the fallen star. And it's
That's
super
good.
cool. And he has a crossguard lightsaber. He's definitely an A tier.
Yeah, I like everything you said
Yeah,
about him.
I like that a lot.
He also had his beard before Elzar. That picture of Elzar that we have in B tier is from Phase 3. He grew his beard in honor of Stellan. So
That makes sense because when I looked at the pictures, I had to keep going back and forth because I was like, "Is this not the same person? They look very similar."
yes,
So,
they do.
That's funny.
Now,
If I ever die too young, please shave your beards into the way mine looks.
Why would you put that on us, you
You guys
asshole?
look like assholes.
it's on the internet too, so we can't deny it.
Who's this rocky looking Jedi?
Court. Oh, Court is so
you texted
cool.
me that one. I've never heard of him.
Man, I like
He's
all your
got a-
explanations, but man, you were running with these A and B's, my friend.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go Bell or Loden because I am gonna want Court to be an A or B.
Do it. No, please do go with Court.
Court should be B. He's in the Jedi Adventures comics, which is the not Marvel ones that they're aimed for a younger audience. So I had lower expectations going into it, but it ended up being a great story with him. He doesn't speak English. I don't know what language he speaks. He talks. It's a comic book, so when he talks, it's like special characters, like upside down question marks and like greater than less than signs. And then the only person that has been able to understand him is Geode, who is a rock in the High Republic.
Yes, yeah.
And I've talked about him before, and he doesn't talk, but Geode and Court understand each other, which is hilarious. And then also Court's species lore, they wear those bone masks, which is like the same bone mask that Crate wore in Legends, which I also have now read, and Court's way cooler than that. Court's way cooler than Crate. But they wear that bone mask, and then eventually it breaks, and he like evolves into this better and greater Jedi, and then he can talk after the bone mask breaks, and his character design's really cool. All of his like fight scenes and story developments are really cool. It's mostly a character design thing. I guess I'd be fine going and C because that seems to be where we go with characters that
Character
are just
design.
cool character design. But more at the front of C, closer to Ayla Secura than Coleman Trevor.
Interesting. I've never heard of that guy at all, but that also intrigued me.
Yeah, why is he in here then? If 2 out of the 3 of us haven't heard of any of these people.
I trusted Luke's opinion on it. I texted him because, like I said, I only
Those
know
Jedi belong on the tier list just because you guys haven't watched the High Republic.
I only know like 2 or 3 of these guys, so I was like, well, I don't want to leave out some of the bigger names, so I was like, Luke, which ones are like the bigger ones? And he said Court. I didn't know who that was, so I just did it. Had I had this beforehand, I probably would not have included him, but that's fine. That's a good C. That's a good C. One of the few of these High Republic Jedi that I do know is Porter Engle, because he had his own mini-series called The Blade, which I really liked. Luke, I'll let you defend him before I say D.
D? Are you kidding me? In The Blade alone, he was at least B.
He was cool, but like, I don't know, like
he's awesome. And he's
maybe
super,
C.
He's super old.
He's not a good cook.
They call him the Blade of Bardata, and we don't know why yet, because the Blade miniseries ended on a cliffhanger that said like Porter Engle will return in the Blade 2, basically. But his sister was Barash, who took the Barash vow, and started the Barash vow, which we all like.
Akin to Lou Gehrig's disease.
He has a really cool. He's really cool in Phase 1 when he's like just an old guy. He's really into cooking, because what else is there to do when you're that old and you max out all your skills in lightsaber and Jedi training? He just casually becomes a master chef, which is hilarious. He's really funny. He's that person that doesn't want to join a fight because he knows he's gonna win, and then when he does join a fight, he slaughters everyone, and it's so satisfying to see. And then in Phase 3, he was behind the storm wall and used his knowledge of Phase 2 of that. He was like the only link between Phase 2 and Phase 1 of the High Republic, because they used the old technology in Phase 2, or he used the old technology in Phase 2 with the RX, or not RX droids, the Pathfinder droids that used to go out and like explore new hyperspace routes. He found one behind the storm wall and was able to use it because it has obsolete hyperspace technology, and he could retrofit that to get through the storm wall.
Okay. I think you've convinced me above C tier at one point, but then you started talking about how he likes to cook, and I felt like that brought him right back down again.
What do you have against cooking?
What does that have to do with him being a Jedi? Like, the fact that we're going into his cooking skills as a Jedi tells me, I don't know.
If any of, well, I would hope Gelanatai could be the D tier High Republic Jedi, but that means we'll have to put Mace Windu in F tier, which I will be making a push for, and we can get to that later. But if anyone has to be in D, he is second on my list to join D tier, I guess.
Okay. We'll put him in D tier. I was taking a pause there because I was thinking about more of what you said with Mace Windu being an F tier. I'm actually okay with Mace Windu being an F tier. Here's the thing.
Really?
It's not because I dislike Mace Windu as a character. There's characters in here that I think are really important, like Barriss Offee. Like, obviously, she's a very cool character, but the reason we put her in F tier is just because she's a terrorist. Mace Windu, you can say, like, yeah, he's a cool character, but I would put him in F tier just because I feel like he's a jerk.
Hey, Mace Windu, we found a virgin centered around this boy. Do you think we should bully him for the next 15 years? He's an asshole, yeah. Yes. He is the worst part of the Jedi Order. He's like Ki-Adi-Mundi with more confidence to be arrogantly wrong.
That's true. I would be absolutely pissed if I had interacted with Mace Windu. I would still put him in D tier just because purple lightsaber, especially at the time, cool to see a black Jedi. I don't know. Sam Jackson, again, I know that goes only so far with Sam Jackson since he's in 3 movies out of all the different comics and all the different animated shows. But I'd make an argument for D tier purple lightsaber alone.
His lightsaber hilt is one of the best.
And it's purple, Luke.
And it's purple. I like purple. One of the Mace Windu lines that always makes me more mad than when I see other people get mad online is when he tells Anakin to go wait in the council chambers. If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really, Mace Windu? I'll have gained your trust? Gee golly, I can't wait.
We've all had that coworker or boss like that, though, too.
And at this point, Anakin was also on the High Council, and he's like basically telling a coworker, like, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
He's a jerk.
He sucks.
I agree with it.
F. Max, it comes down to you, though.
Yeah.
Matt's on D tier. If it helps, Gelanatai definitely should not be in C tier. But she should be higher than Mace Windu. The only cool thing about either of them is purple lightsaber, and she has 2.
All right. we'll put Mace Windu in F tier and
Gela.
Gela in D tier.
I mean,
Say something more about her though.
Two
Who is
purple
this?
lightsabers. She's the main character from the Phase 2 of the High Republic. She. I really don't have anything interesting to say about her. She forms.
Okay, then I feel like the having 2 purple lightsabers cancels out with just being Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
All right, fine. I did not like the books that she was in.
Okay,
personally.
we'll put that in F tier then. What about there's only 2 more from High Republic, Loden Greatstorm, who I don't know anything about, and Bell Zedavar, who the only thing I know is you told me that he had a hellhound or something like that.
Charhound.
A charhound.
He has a dog, and it's made of fire, and it's super cool. That's also really all I have to say about him. I mean, he has full character arcs in several different books, and he does a lot of great Jedi moments, saves a lot of people. I'd be fine putting him in C tier, carried by his Charhound. I
guess that's where we're putting all the unique characters.
When Starlight Beacon went down, he lost his friend Buryaga, and he never gave up on him, and he found him like underwater somewhere on Iram where he crashed. I really like him. And then Loden. Yeah, Loden can't be in D tier. Loden's a good one for C tier. He's Bell's master. He is a comedian. He's like, everyone always talks about how funny and lighthearted he is, which is a fun trope for a Jedi. I do not like that concept art. I'm not surprised you picked it because it's everywhere, but I do not think it captures his character well because he's such a lighthearted and jovial guy.
Yeah, this looks like a mugshot.
He looks a good toe.
He gets captured at the end of book 1 and tortured pretty heinously by the Nile, and he has a yellow lightsaber, which I also really like. But then the bad guy, Marchion Rogue, gets his yellow lightsaber and uses it for nefarious purposes, which is really sad, but keeps him alive in a really dark kind of way. When he's being tortured, he gets like his head Laiku sheared off and stuff like that, like heavily experimented on, super dark torture. And then when that doesn't take well enough for the Nile's satisfaction, they start bringing in civilians and torturing them in front of Loden because Jedi are so empathetic that also was torture for him. So that all sucked. And then Bell ended up saving him, and Loden came out and he was like super malnourished and he was like wasting away, had his Laiku sheared off, and then he had a sick fight scene, and then he was the first one to get turned to dust by the nameless monsters, and it was also really cool. He should definitely be above D tier. I think I convinced myself for C.
Just out of pity because of everything that the poor guy went through.
He has been through it, but he was like the best part of the first book too. He taught Bell a lot in that one book. He's also one of the only High Republic Jedi. Him and Bell were in the Young Jedi Adventures, which was cool to see them on screen and talking and stuff.
All right, we'll put him in C tier. Let's that rounds up, I think, everyone that I had from the High Republic. Then let's get Matthew back in this conversation. Let's go to Kanan.
S tier for sure.
S.
Yeah, S for Kanan.
But you know Yoda.
Yep, Kanan. Like I said, I think him and Obi-Wan are my favorite Jedi.
For including story arcs. He does
Sorry,
have
I'm just looking at all the High Republic Jedi now. I'd be comfortable moving Avar down to B tier. I think
with Elzar.
Yeah, Qui-Gon and Yoda is pretty elite company, and I don't like her that much.
But you're good with.
But Stellan deserves it. Yeah.
All right.
Just the story arc alone, I think what you described, Luke.
And a crossguard lightsaber. It's badass.
Yeah, that's cool. Luke, where do you go on Kanan?
Oh, definitely at least A. What were you saying?
I said S.
S. An argument can be made for S.
Story arc, the way he guides Ezra and the rest of the Ghost. He not only has a Padawan, but he takes on a full crew and leads them. I know everyone has their own part, but he does the Lord's work in that in that crew. He just goes out so great. I mean, I love that story arc.
One of the best deaths.
And we were still talking about him in Ahsoka too, and you can feel his absence when you see the rest of the Ghost crew.
Yeah, I'd be fine tail end of S or the front end of A. Max?
I think I'm good with S.
All right.
Yeah.
Definitely a tail end though.
Got me. That's fair. But then what about Ezra?
Ezra, I'd
Can't
say
be S.
I don't think
I would say
S.
B.
Yeah, I'd say B tier as well.
He's doing his best. He has potential to move up to A, but possibly even S in Ahsoka Season 2. We'll see where it goes.
Because sometimes in Rebels, he is just the whiny kid who talks about Lothal a lot. And so that
definitely loves Lothal.
Definitely loves it. And I'm definitely always like, can we just move on? And then, but I feel like he's got a lot of potential in season 2 of Ahsoka.
It also bothered me in season 1 of Ahsoka when he had his first fight scene and was like, "No, I don't need a lightsaber. The Force is my ally." And then the next episode, load the boy up. Yeah.
All right, let's get to Luke has been waiting for it. Kit Fisto.
Heyo. A.
Wow, I was guaranteed for you to say S for some reason.
I mean, he's
That
not a
tells
main
me that
character.
Luke's being realistic.
Yeah,
with his
he's not a main
expectations.
character, but he is so cool. He's far and away the coolest character design in all of Star Wars. Can we agree on that?
I don't think so.
I don't
but
think
Who
so
do you think is
either,
cooler?
I don't know.
I mean, someone has to be the top. I know that it's a big statement to say so brash like that, but someone is at top, and
so
if not
brash
him, then
foul
who?
like that. You know
Nice.
what, Luke? I will say A with you. I do like Kit Fisto a lot. Like I said, I was always more of a Plo Koon guy. Do I think he realistically belongs in B? Yes, I do. But I'll go with A.
He does parry a blow from Emperor Palpatine,
Mhm.
and he
Such
does
power.
save C-3PO from a battle droid's body.
A tier. Is
Yeah,
that where
we
you're gonna
got
put
we
him?
got that sick shot of him grinning in The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones.
Yes, we do. That's a great scene. Max, where would you put him as well? Again, I would personally put B.
In my
but
head,
we
I
should do
started
A.
at B.
Yeah, me too. But let's do A for Luke.
Thanks.
All right, we'll do it. We're in agreement.
I mean, that scene also from that picture when he
Yes.
uses Nadar's lightsaber and fights Grievous and then
It's
does that backflip onto his ship that appears out of nowhere. That was also season 1 of the Clone Wars. That's like the best episode in season 1 of the Clone Wars.
I want to get into a couple controversial ones real quick. Sabine,
Jackie, apparently.
I would like to move for F tier for Sabine.
F.
Great character,
What?
great character, but if we're
As a
ranking her
Jedi.
Jedi,
I guess like the one thing she had to do as a Jedi was put the fate of the galaxy above the fate of herself and her own desire for Ezra by not giving Baylan Skoll the map, and she did. That was pretty not cool as a Jedi.
That's true.
and she forced pushed Ezra a little bit.
That's true.
That's really about it. That's
That-
her only
All right,
accomplishment.
that puts her into D tier for me.
I say D tier as well at the worst. But okay, Luke, where did you actually think, without taking Max's F tier into consideration?
I mean, as a character, B
Yes.
to A, but as a Jedi, significantly lower.
Yes, but do we not include her as a character in general? Not necessarily her.
We couldn't
before.
include Porter Engel as a cook.
That's a little different, but I think Sabine's personality is fiery. Yeah, but fuck. I guess maybe.
I mean, Trials of the Darksaber is one of my favorite Star Wars sequences, let alone Rebels episodes. And I guess we could kind of count that as her as a Jedi because she's training with a lightsaber, but
we all do like Sabine,
Yeah.
right? And
Of course,
I think
yes.
I feel like a lot of the decisions in Ahsoka are because Sabine's making dumb decisions, but it is all for just the love that I think that she had within the Ghost crew, and I don't know, man, that is tough. I would as a Jedi though, but she can throw down a little bit too, and she's learning.
Are you about to make a push for like C or B or A?
I was gonna say C.
All right, so then sounds like pretty unanimous D if I'm on D and Max is on F, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
D.
Yep, that evens out.
But let the record state that I do like Sabine, and I think she should be in C.
Another controversial one, I'm guessing, because of how low I'm also going to put her, would be Leia. Technically, she was a Jedi. Luke did train her. We saw 2 seconds of that in the flashback, and then she did nothing with it other than train Rey for a little bit.
But did she not do that because, I mean, maybe she sensed something in Ben, which is why she had Luke train him instead of herself, that she thought she was going to be able to train him and she was going to turn bad, and so she didn't think she was going to be strong enough, so she took a side, and she ended up kind of taking an L for herself in order for the greater good of the galaxy. Just that little hope, which, if anything, the Jedi, I feel like, is restraint. Is a big thing, and I feel like that could be an argument for her, as well as she is definitely more of the leader of the rebellion versus a Jedi, but I think she uses her Jedi powers as the leader of the rebellion. So I would argue that she is a good Jedi, because even though she's not the flashiest, I think she uses a lot of her intellect and restraint.
I really like everything you said, and this is very difficult because you are asking us to talk about her immediately after Sabine, and the situation is pretty identical. Sabine as a character is far above D, and Leia as a character we all really like.
Correct.
And Leia as a Jedi is worse. I do think Leia as a Jedi is a lot better than Sabine as a Jedi. Yeah, Leia saw the death of her son at the end of her Jedi path, so she hung it up and stopped training as a Jedi, but then took it back up, which is equally significant when Rey needed a teacher because Luke died.
Again,
I would be
restraint.
comfortable in C to B.
I'd say B for sure.
B for sure.
Yes. Again, I think just because she's not the flashiest, I think
I like her lightsaber hilt a lot.
her saber hilt is great. I think she had again. I think for her, it's the restraint and using the knowing the Jedi failed, having that in the back of her mind, and then also seeing her brother fail as a Jedi. Also, I think being able to restrain that and having those powers and not using them, and being. I don't think she could overexploit them. I mean, you have TV shows like The Boys where Homelander exploits his powers. I think, and it's very easy to do. And I think the restraint in that is very powerful itself.
We lowered Agent Kohler down to F in part because it pissed me off that he wasn't Eathcoth. Similar to that, it pisses me off that Leia became a Jedi in Episode 9 when it was explicitly canon before that movie dropped that she did not train as a Jedi. So if we take that into consideration, it does still kind of piss me off.
How was that explicitly canon that she did not train?
In Bloodlines, she talked about how Luke trained as a Jedi and she never did.
Oh, interesting. I did not know about this. Did she?
It was definitely a retcon.
Was it? That can't coexist at the same time. That couldn't have been her saying like, oh, basically like I had an opportunity but I never did.
I don't remember exactly what it was said in Bloodline, but it was very clear. It's definitely one of the clunkiest retcons in Star Wars,
That's
in my
interesting.
opinion.
Okay, you know what? I didn't know that. I think I'm good with C tier.
Yeah, I talked myself down to C or D after
All right.
talking about how it pisses me off. So C
I'll go
seems
C.
good.
All right.
Man, doesn't Coleman Trevor look kind of out of place in C tier now? I think maybe we should revisit him, but I digress. Sorry, let's keep
Are you
going.
talking D tier for Coleman Trevor?
Yeah,
Okay, let's do that instantly.
I
Yeah,
think
let's do that. Let's
yeah,
do that.
I'm good with
C
that.
tier is getting a little stacked.
Yes.
Let's
Look,
fill
how's
out
my
F
battery
tier.
doing?
Let's fill out F tier a little bit. You're good.
All right, I was just getting
I don't
nervous.
see anything. Let's fill out F tier a little bit. Kiadi Mundi. Fuck that guy, right?
Fuck Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah,
F.
Yadi Mundi is the worst. I could argue for a D, I think, but same thing with Mace Windu. It's not worth it. Let's just do F. He's a dick.
Anyone surprised about our comments on Kiadi Mundi? Go see Luke's rant about why he's the worst.
Yeah, I think it's
I don't
in
even remember what episode. That's
episode
in.
32, episode 33, episode 34. No, I don't know.
You
All right.
calmed down for 20 episodes and then revisited it back at 60 something now?
What about Addie Gallia?
I would
She's
also
the-
make a play for F. Similar to Leia and Agent Kohler, Stas Ali is killed during Order 66 on, I forget what the planet is, Seleucami, I believe. And growing up, I thought that was Addie Gallia because same species, same general vibes, girl, and
They
it's
might
not
not have
her. And
known
like, what the
that
hell,
too.
George Lucas? Why you
Yeah.
gotta make two characters be the same?
She is the only one I always forget in the Jedi Council. When I like name them off, she is always the one I always forget.
Yeah. What was I,
I
gonna
know
say? She has
nothing
cool-
about her.
She has
I
good
am-
content in the Clone Wars. She dies to Savage, and that was cool.
Mm.
I mean,
She's
most
in
of these other
Living Force.
Jedi could have handled Savage.
Especially if you're on the High Council.
Yeah.
That's fair because I feel like I know nothing about her, so I'm complacent with her being an F. Another one who I always kind of forget about on the council is Depa Billaba. She is kind of a
Interesting.
main part of the living force,
Mhm.
which is kind of
Yeah.
impacting
And
this.
she's got one of the funnest names to say.
Depa Billaba. It does
Depa
roll
Billaba?
fun.
That is
roll,
fair.
roll off the tongue well. She
Like, if
trained
you're like
Kanan
a-
Jarrus, so that's
Mhm.
cool. But if we're going back to like meta things that have pissed us off regarding retcons, the way she died was also
Red God.
completely
Yes.
retconned
Yeah.
from the comics to Bad Batch.
It was. And I remember when we reviewed that Kanan comic, it also made me mad when she was like, oh, Jedi should be in this war, but not generals. It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't just be like, I'd do this the exact same way, but better than you.
So where are you thinking?
yeah,
Also,
despite all that, I think C.
I was gonna say C too.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
All right.
Tell me if you were at a Mediterranean restaurant and someone said, "Do you want baba ganoush, hummus, or double balaba?" That wouldn't make sense.
Our overwhelming whiteness is a pro for her. You're right.
It sounds too ethnic. What about Evan Peel?
Evan Peel's one that pisses me off too. I don't know.
Because of the living force?
Just everything about him. I don't know. He just looks like I don't know. I don't love Evan Peel.
I like him in the Clone Wars. He's a fun arc.
I love him in the Clone Wars. I did not like
Yeah.
him in the Living Force. He and Stacey Tin, for whatever reason, got shafted in terms of screen time or plot relevance. I wanted to see a lot more.
Yeah, you
of
guys are
him.
much farther ahead of me in the Living Force, but from where I am, he made it to whatever the planet is, and then left almost immediately. He's like, "All right, I'm going to help these kids," and then I was like,
I got a tummy ache.
that
I'm
was
leaving.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't love him. Cool character design though.
I like his
So-
character design because of how evil he looks. He
Yes.
looks like a demon.
Yes.
Yes.
And they
So
talk
the-
about that in the Living Force too.
But like
which
the
is
demon
fun.
on like Nick at Night or something.
Like an old school demon, like an 80s
Yeah.
like Gremlins era
Yeah.
bad guy. And I
I
like
mean-
that that's not true, that he's a Jedi, even though he looks hideous. I don't know. I think it's a fun thing. I would say maybe D tier, but I would understand F tier.
How did he die?
No, I do D tier.
How
for
did he
sure,
die in the
Jedi.
Clone Wars? It was in the Citadel arc. I don't remember it exactly though.
I don't remember.
Did he die in the Citadel arc? I don't even remember now.
I'm almost certain.
And
Yeah.
I just said I liked it too. Okay.
All right, well, D tier then. But
Yep.
now D tier is starting to look good. We need a D.5 tier.
D and a half. All right. Oppo Rancisis.
Great
Oppo.
character design.
Great
Yes.
name.
Great name.
Great hair.
Oppo. Great hair. I also like all the drawings of him more than obviously when we see him in live action.
Mm-hmm. He's in the High Republic a good amount. He was on the council then also, and he's got like I won't be able to describe it. You'd have to look up a picture. Max, you can put it in post, but he's got a different but also very
almost
nice
certainly not be
hairstyle
doing that.
in the High Republic.
I like him because I feel like he's only in the Phantom Menace, right? I don't think he's around by the time of the Attack of the Clones.
But we don't know where he is.
No, I
That's
think he-
correct.
I think
I don't
he
think
is,
he's in.
maybe.
He's not in the. He's not on the council in Attack of the Clones. I don't think.
No.
I like
But I
him
remember
better than-
being a kid and seeing him and always looking at the Jedi in the High
Yeah.
Council and him sticking out to me and me being like, what is this one? Like
Yes.
I always wanted to
Yes.
look at him more because there was never a good
Never
look
shot.
at him.
Yep. I like him better than Evan Peel.
I agree. The character design is better than Evan Peel.
So are you guys thinking C or D then? Because I feel like that's really where it lays, right?
I'd be comfortable with C.
I was gonna say D, but I'm comfortable with either.
But I want Jarl Poof in a tier above him, and I'm not
Oh.
comfortable with Jarl Poof in B.
No, Euro Poof is C material.
And that
Yes,
means
but
I think that means Oppo has to go in D.
I 1000% agree.
They're very tied together in my mind, and Jarl Poof is very
Speaking of,
the
Jarl Poof is
superior.
one of my favorite council members. I think I said this last week as well.
yeah. He's
I
great.
love Jarl Poof.
In Lego Star Wars the
He's
Skywalker
hilarious.
saga. There's a side mission where you go to Kamino to unlock him because the Kaminoans kept him because they think he's one of them. Because he looks like a Kaminoan. That's just so funny.
He's great. He's funny and he's very zen. I love him.
He's got 4 arms, which I didn't realize for a very long time. But he's also in the High Republic.
He has
and he's
4
cool in that.
arms?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Makes you really think what he's doing with the other two.
Stupid. Low hanging
not
fruit.
saying what it
Low
is.
hanging fruit, but we haven't talked about her yet. Ahsoka.
S. Front end of S for me. I would put her above Luke Skywalker. I think she's the
Interesting.
greatest Jedi of all time.
I think Obi-Wan is the greatest Jedi. I would say the front end of A tier
Really?
or the back end of S tier.
I was gonna say A tier originally too.
Yeah.
Really? That's crazy to
I like
me.
Ahsoka, but she's like Gandalf the White. She's too high and mighty for me sometimes. I prefer
feel like
Gandalf
the
the Gray.
Ahsoka show made me like her a little bit less as a character overall. That we're starting to like get overexposed to her maybe.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
I mean her stuff in the Clone Wars and in Rebels is
also-
just so elite.
I do. I love her in Rebels, but I also like when I watch Rebels. I like the episodes when she's not in the ghost ship itself because it feels like when you go to a friend's house and like their friend comes over from another school.
It does.
Like that's what it feels like to me, and for that arc and stuff. That's a pretty big deal, I think. In that, I mean, I love the ending of that, obviously, of season 2 of Rebels. But I think a lot of stuff beforehand, I was like, can she leave right now? Like, honestly, so that's for me. It's a lot of character kind of getting shoehorned in a little bit, and then it's again to kind of gain off the white for me. I really do like Ahsoka, but again, I think she's a little too high and mighty for my taste. But I agree. I understand why you like.
I agree, but to put it in context, we are talking her down from S tier to A tier.
Correct.
I mean, she is still. If we were making a top 5 Jedi ranking,
She's
she
up
would
there.
easily be in my top 5.
She would easily be my number 1. I mean, if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted. I would have put her at the front of S, but
I'll
so
put her.
be it.
I can put her at the front of A.
All right. That's crazy. She has white lightsabers and blue lightsabers and green lightsabers. and
Exactly.
always
Pick
two.
a lane.
And 2 of them. It's doing too much. It's a hat on top of a hat.
Exactly.
All right. Where do we feel about Vernestra Rowe?
Yeah, the Acolyte definitely lowered her.
I was gonna say
a
this
good
is
amount.
She's pretty corrupt, right?
Yeah, she's very corrupt. This is definitely more Luke's wheelhouse, I'd say, within the High Republic.
Yeah,
and
I
everything.
love her in the High Republic. She's very charismatic and likable, and she was very dislikable in the Acolyte. And I mean, recency bias is obviously going to come into a play here, but I'd be comfortable putting her in F, which is I'm sure where you guys want her to be, right?
I'd say F or D for sure.
I was going to say F. Yeah, I was going to
Let's
say
do
that I
F,
don't
yeah.
think the purple light whip was enough to move her out.
Well,
of
no,
it.
because
I wasn't thinking about that. It definitely is
Okay.
D for sure.
she doesn't even use the light whip. I mean, she saw it in
She
one
did too.
shot.
She teases us with it, but then that's it.
It's literally, man, yeah, it's.
It is a purple. Like,
She
just because we don't
presumably
see
uses
it
it
as
to
much
whip
as
her
we wanted it
apprentice.
to be.
Can we talk
It is
about
a purple
that?
light whip, and that's worth D at least.
Is she any more much of a dick than Mace Windu? Mace Windu bullies Anakin, sure, but Vanessa Rowe, literally, one of her good friends, Saul, she just blames the full thing on him after he dies with no sort of redemption. So when he is lost to history as being bad because she cannot admit the truth.
And then trains Mog, another F tier.
Yes, and then
We
change.
don't know. He is not in canon her apprentice. He was with her a couple of times
But
during the Acolyte.
She
but
is, but that out of all the Jedi, he's the one that she picks.
we don't know that. We
Her
don't know if she
judgment
picks him.
is
We
flawed.
do not know that she is his master. D, I think definitely D tier, just because she has a purple light whip, and she's really cool in the High Republic,
All right.
which I know is kind of unfair
Okay.
for me to pull that
No,
card.
no. I think that is fair because I think
I'll
that's the
do D
majority of the
tier for her.
content.
This is starting to run a little long, so let's just do a little bit of a speed round with the rest of the Acolyte crew. All right, so starting with Sol.
boy.
I really liked Sol a lot. I feel like
Mm.
everyone kind of thought that he was the standout Jedi. I would be pushing for at least B tier for Sol.
I would be comfortable with him in A tier also.
Oof, I would be comfortable in C or D. I do not like
Ooh,
Saul.
You don't like Soul?
No.
I like it.
Just as a if we're talking as a Jedi, he's a terrible actual Jedi, but by keeping a secret, I think he puts himself more than he puts anything else in front. I mean, that's why the whole situation happened. And to be honest, going back to I guess Vanessa Rowe, he maybe deservedly so. Everything was blamed on him because he implanted himself in every situation.
He was
so
only ever trying
he's a
to
good
help, though. Like, yes, he did kill Mother
but at some
Anastasia,
time
but
you need to have some sort of recognition of yourself, I think, especially if you're a Jedi. You have to look inward and be like, if what I'm doing, why am I doing it, and is this right? And he had multiple years to figure that out, and he never did it. He
wanted to turn himself in right away, but Indara told him not to so that they could save Osha from falling to the dark side, which was in vain in the end. But I also, as much as I dislike like Agent Kohler and Leia for out-of-universe reasons, I like Soul for out-of-universe reasons because they were like running out of different accents for different characters to use. And they were like, what if we got a guy that doesn't even speak English
There we
and
go.
just taught him on set? And I think that's funny. And Lee Jung-jae as an actor is probably the best acting I've seen out of anyone on this list, except for Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
I don't know about that.
I know I just sprung that on you, but
yeah,
I think,
I'd have to think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I think I disagree with that,
I
but I
do.
don't know.
I think a lot of
I
his
wasn't
lines,
prepared to think about that beforehand.
I think he did a lot with not great writing. I think also I hold it against him for ending every single episode being like, now I will tell you, and then doesn't proceed to tell us until the next episode. So I don't know. I don't like Saul, to be honest. I am glad he died, like in that, which sounds fucked up to say, in that fight with Chimere, because Chimere to me is the more interesting character on how
over C.
yeah.
C tier for Soul.
I think that's
Saul.
the compromise. I think that's where we're landing on it.
I will not think about Saul when I think about a Jedi. I do not think about him. Sorry.
Really?
To him,
What
not
about
to you guys.
Indara?
fucking low.
Yeah, lower than Soul. So I guess
F
D.
or D.
Very by the book until she isn't.
Yes,
So.
I'd say
What do you
F.
mean until she isn't? Oh, because yeah,
Because she's the
What
one
do
who
you mean?
basically encourages
Soul.
Soul to start lying.
I'd say
Yeah.
F. She's straight up there with Vanessa Rowe, but without a light web.
Yeah, she was involved in everything that happened on Brundock and was seemingly the only one who wasn't torn up about it. Which we
Yeah.
talked about at the time. You know, like she is the one who was definitely least culpable in everything that happened.
Yeah,
but
until she was. She's she's
still.
like, I've been through it, but this isn't my first rodeo.
what about Kelnaka? A Wookiee Jedi alone.
Very cool.
that puts him in C. I'd
Instant
say.
C. Yeah, I agree.
His,
Kalnaka was
his
cool.
fight sequence was incredible.
Yeah.
What about Torben?
Fucking F.
I would
right?
say F. Yeah.
He
It's
sucks
not-
as a Jedi. He sucks as a
I
Padawan.
want to put him
It's not
higher,
just that he
but
looks stupid.
he-
Although that
he
scene
does
of,
look stupid.
that scene of him deflecting those arrows.
That was
that might
rad.
put him in D for me.
no, but
but
the
if
whole thing
I'm
is his
outvoted-
fault though, because it.
It was the whole thing was his fault. Yeah,
The whole thing was his fault,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have a light whip.
he just wanted to go home.
If that's
I
the,
can relate.
And then what about
Me right now.
Yord?
Oh, definitely higher than Soul and Kelnaka, and you guys wanted to put him at C.
I
so
would not say higher than either of them.
I would say D tier
I
for
think,
your.
I think putting him in the same level as Soul and Kelnaka is doing him a favor.
what?
Yeah, I'd say D for Yord.
Again, it's a lot of out of universe stuff at how immediately and seemingly randomly the community rallied around Yord as soon as the Acolyte premiered, but that was just so much fun.
If
for
we
me.
could, if we could put Luke Taylor saying right now in our first review of the Acolyte, "Fuck Yord," which he does say in that episode right here, that'd be great.
I know I was wrong. Love Yord.
That was half of the show he was in. Was the first 2 episodes.
No, he was in the first 5.
Yeah, it's almost
not
half.
episode 3, so 4. Okay.
All right. S tier's looking a little low again, so let's go back to an easy one. Zet Jukasa, or Zet Jukas, for those of you who don't know, is played by Jet Lucas, who is George Lucas's son. He was the 13-year-old kid that killed a couple clones for Bail Organa to escape from the temple.
Yeah.
Heroic sacrifice.
Did you say S tier though?
He saved Bail Organa. I mean, it was the future of the entire galaxy.
Was
right
Bail
there.
Organa at risk? I never knew that because Bail Organa is not a Jedi. Those clones are not about to kill him. Like they said, leave, and Bail Organa said okay, and then this guy comes running out like he's saving something.
That's an excellent point. I never thought about that. You just kind of assume they point his blasters at him, but I think they do tell him to just kind of leave.
They are in the middle of a military insurrection, so you got to be on guard. But yeah, they
Yeah.
weren't about to kill Bail Organa.
All right. But he is a pet favorite of mine, which is why I wanted to include him, even though he's only in 10 seconds, less than. So where do you guys put him?
I would put him in D because
Let's throw him in D.
I don't
He
have a
does-
reason to actively
He was a
dislike him.
child.
He 10 seconds, Maxwell.
All right.
You're talking Jedi of all time.
What about let's go back to Adar Veb.
Mhm.
Nadar Veb.
Nadar Veb. He was
Yep.
Amagana Dai's apprentice.
He was Kit Fisto's apprentice.
Oh, I thought he was never mind. Okay. He's the one who tried to fight Grievous, right?
Yeah,
And immediately dies.
immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So F.
He was a victim of circumstances. He was not ready to take the trials, but the war put him in that position. He was young and
But he was pretty brash in wanting to fight Grievous, though. That
He
was
was.
definitely his choice.
but he was
Max, you had
inexperienced, and it's not
you
his
had
fault.
some goal to put this many Jedi on this list and not expect this episode to be like 2 hours long. It's most of which we had a full half hour where Luke's the only person who knew half the
There's
Jedi.
a lot that I haven't
What is
included
this?
on here, too. At the end, we'll go over some notable non-mentions.
I would, I guess D, just because he shouldn't be in the same tier as like Loden or Depa Balaba.
Yeah, I
But there's
agree with that.
he didn't do anything wrong to put him in F. He hasn't wronged me.
Okay. All right. We'll do D tier.
He made Kit Fisto sad. I guess that wronged me.
What about Anakin Skywalker?
S.
S, yeah, it's
S,
just S.
okay.
It just is
I'd
S,
put him at
right?
the tail end of S.
Me too.
What
yeah, tail end.
about Rey?
B?
S to A. Really? B? I would think S to A.
I was going to say A.
No, I'm okay with A.
Only because I feel like most of her story as a Jedi is yet to come.
It's all her
That's-
story as a Jedi. At least the
What?
second 2 movies. I mean, a lot more
I would say
story
the
is still
last
to
one. I
come.
would say the Rise of Skywalker is the only one where you could really.
That's true. She's training
I mean,
in Last Jedi.
training counts.
She knows she's a Jedi in the Force Awakens. I'd say A.
I'd say
I'm
as soon
okay
as you
with-
get a lightsaber, you could start considering yourself a Jedi.
That's no way. That's the threshold.
Not exactly,
Well, if
but
that's the case, then it's going to be after Rise of Skywalker, Because before then, she's just using Luke's or Anakin's.
Do you not count Luke until Return of the Jedi then?
I have his picture in Return of the Jedi.
We were counting him from before Return of the Jedi.
I didn't need to.
He would
Everything
be elevated.
post Return of the Jedi is still S tier.
He would be elevated if we didn't include prior to Return of the
Luke
Jedi. for
in
Luke.
Empire and A New Hope is dragging him down, if anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Definitely A New Hope.
A.
Yeah, I'm fine with
A.
What about Luminara Unduli?
I think we have another solid C tier.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
your
comfortable with
run
that.
of the mill
I,
Jedi.
I don't even know why we are doing this list because it's like, okay, the main characters are A and B, and then all the characters on prequel trilogy are C, basically, besides the cool ones. Like, we could have, with our eyes closed, have done this list. I now that I'm looking at this.
It is interesting how those pieces are falling, isn't
Yeah,
it?
isn't it?
What about Shakti?
C tier?
Yeah, see?
Okay, I was gonna make a push for B, but I guess
No,
I'll
you
be
weren't.
outvoted there. Yeah,
Same
she's
tier as
fun. She's got some
Ezra?
good Clone Wars content. Oh, that's no.
B tier is good.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
Jedi are all exceptional.
Yes.
Why did we put Ezra in B tier? All right, whatever. Pong Krell.
F. Terrorist.
Put him in the terrorist
all right.
tier.
So, yeah, everybody that has wronged anybody, terrorist, Mace Windu for bullying, County Mooney for being a dick, Mog for doing literally nothing and not jumping out of a plane. I mean, guys, this is textbook of like, this is, we could have, this, come on, why did we do this? Are these arguments?
What about Gunji? He's another Wookiee Jedi. The only reason I included him and not the other youngling Jedi is because we do see more Gunji than any of the other ones.
No,
he does
I like
make
Gunji.
multiple appearances.
I love all the lore stuff we see with him in the
Yeah.
trees also in that episode of The Bad Batch.
Is
Yeah.
it bad? I want to say C as well.
Yeah, no, I was thinking C.
That's where the other Wookiee Jedi is, so I assume that's where that would end up. All
C's
right.
looking thick.
That's how a bell curve works. That's fine.
Yeah,
Although
this,
B
is,
could be
this is a
thicker
pretty
then.
good distribution. What about Cal Kestis?
Cal Kestis is B or A, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with B to A.
I think he's about the same as Ezra.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
Yeah.
with that. Because he can be whiny sometimes, but also cool.
And then what about Sira
He's not
Jund?
that whiny.
Sira Junda? Junda?
Junda? Yeah, I don't know. F.
Yeah.
Big failure of a Jedi.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Oh,
same
yeah,
thing too.
yeah, let's do
Do,
it.
do you know her story?
Yeah, I played the. Well, I hasn't played the second game, but you
Yeah, I haven't
reviewed
played
it
the
for
second
us.
one either.
She
Well,
was
he-
tortured and gave up the location of her apprentice, and
Yeah.
then her apprentice became an inquisitor because
That was all
Seer
the first
couldn't.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
because Seer couldn't keep her mouth shut. That is the one of the biggest failures you can make as a Jedi.
Yeah, and then she turned her back on the order and lived as a scoundrel. All right, F tier. And then that brings us to this person whose name I forget.
Terra Sanube.
Terra Sanube helps Ahsoka find a lightsaber, and we see him in some sort of frozen cryo chamber in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, he's also in the High Republic a little bit.
all
C
the-
tier, super cool alien design.
C tier.
Cassian.
This is a D
You
to
think
F, my friend.
Just
I feel
D to
like.
F?
creature design.
He's in nothing. He forgot his name. I don't even know who this is.
Yeah, just because
I
of
think
his
that's, yeah.
creature design.
I couldn't think of his name. I'm going to put him in D tier. I think
Aw.
that's the compromise there.
Max,
That's
this
a
list
bummer.
is sus to me.
And then
His,
Jackie.
his lightsaber was built into his cane. How cool.
He has a cane. I don't
That
know.
is cool. I'll give him that. I think that's a reason to keep him above F tier.
Jackie B tier or A. I would make a push for A, but I know it's not going to get there.
Yeah, after
Definitely
seeing the
above
rest of
Sol
this
and
list-
Kelnaka. I think Sol should be higher than Kelnaka and all of C tier. I can't believe Sol is in B tier. Is in C tier.
Again, going off the list of what we've been talking about, I think this is perfect for Soul because if you're thinking main character A and B, through I guess S through B is exactly where he would belong in main character wise. But then he has wronged somebody, much like D and F, which lands him in C.
I see your logic, but
Thank
I don't
you.
like it.
And I honestly, Jackie, I think
Jackie definitely never wronged anybody.
she never
was so
did, but
sweet.
she's also not a main character.
She was through
You
and
don't have
through.
to be a main character.
You-
Quinlan
you-
Voss isn't a main character.
you
Some
don't.
people are just cool.
But I don't love her design personally.
She
I
looks
know.
exactly like your wife.
That's what you said, but I don't see it. But I don't love her design and the fact that I feel like it should be one solid color or something. I don't know. She just looks to me. I don't know. I mean, Jackie was fine, but she would have gone so much further if she actually survived. So I'd put her in the top version of C. I think I wouldn't put her. I'd put her past like Stacey 10. I have a more of a emotional connection to Stacey 10 because of action figures. I don't think in 5 years I'm gonna think Jackie. I will still be thinking about Stacey 10 though.
I am gonna get you a Jackie toy.
I doubt they make one.
They do.
Okay, they fooled us. That's my
Max,
vote. is
I still
C.
vote B.
I'm kind of leaning towards B2. I kind of disagree with what you
Yay.
said. I think in 10 years
All
when I
right.
think of Jedi, I am going to think of Jackie before
Okay, real quick,
most
Max,
of these other
are
Jedi.
you
in
thinking
C.
of
Maybe other
her
than
or
Stacey
her
10.
death, which is by Chimere?
It's
It's
all
related.
built in. Yeah, that's part
That
of
fight
it.
scene as a whole, she was awesome before she
Her death
physically
isn't a
died.
notable accomplishment, but it is definitely notable.
With that being said, this is me having not rewatched The Acolyte yet, obviously.
Yeah. none
So
of us have.
I could watch The Acolyte, and next time we record, I can be like, egg on my face. Jackie's the best.
'Cause she was the one who's coming up with the plans over Yord, who was brash and ill.
Max, as somebody
He was
who
a valiant leader. He was controlling that room.
He'd have been valiant, but he was dim-witted.
Yeah.
Dim-witted.
Max, for 7
Hardly.
weeks when we talk about The Acolyte and we're talking about the writing being iffy, I don't know if we can give Jackie that much credit.
But she also holds her own, though, in the fights.
Yes, the fight.
She fights just about everyone. And the only reason she loses is because Chimere takes a cheap shot with the second blade.
That's true too. I mean, yeah, her fight scene. She has one of the best fight scenes of any of these Jedi. She has some great dialogue. She's super likable. I still think A tier, but B
Nah,
tier.
I can't do A tier.
I'm holding my
but
ground.
I think B tier. I'm locking her in.
All right, well, Matt, we do all have our one bump. If you want to waste it on Jackie, oh, that'll make me so sad. Then I'll have to waste mine on Jackie. No, Jackie's off limits. Jackie has an ultra lock on her. I am feeling good about this list. I am starting to think about who I am going to bump, and would we be allowed to bump someone below F tier and make below a sub F?
Who do you want to take out of F tier?
I'm just thinking. I'm just reviewing my options.
Is there anyone on here that anyone actually wants to move? Because I am pretty happy with how this all lined up.
Same.
I think Ahsoka should be A or should be S, and I guess that's about it. Everyone else looks good.
Do we all want to? Do we still want to move? Anybody want to move one person though? Is that what we're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
All
Everyone
right.
gets to move one person up or down.
All right, Luke, you're moving Ahsoka to S.
No, I'm not yet because I don't
Oh,
know because she's
okay.
really close to S, and I feel like that's right about. It's not that different. But someone else can go first. I'm still thinking.
I'm kind of happy with where this lined up. I don't think there's anyone that I really want to move around too much.
I mean, why'd you pick that picture of Yord? Like you're just this whole thing's rigged. Matt, what are you thinking?
You know, I'm pretty happy with this too. To be honest, I was debating moving Saul down to D, but I think this is a group consensus of everything, so I'm okay with not moving anybody.
I agree. We're not moving anyone. I think this is good.
Oh, Ahsoka S.
No, you said you're pretty
I didn't agree
happy.
to that.
This is good. There you go. That is the Force for Thought tier ranking of Star Wars Jedi.
Yes.
All right. I'm
Stacey
comfortable
10
with
and
it.
C looks out of place to me now that I'm looking at it.
We're on
But
both
it's
the
locked
B?
in. It's already
It's
locked in.
It's locked in.
But let us know. Let us know what you think. If there was any other Jedi that we didn't include that you should have, you think we should have included, such as some notable non-mentions, such as Jedi Dooku, Ben Solo. I didn't include a lot of the people who turned bad. Reva.
That
You
would've
don't
just
see
taken a
them
lot
as
of time.
Jedis. You don't see them
For
as
an episode
Jedi.
that ran long, I think that was a good omission.
So let
Yes.
us know what you think. If there's any glaring omissions, or also if you have any strong disagreements, let us know if you think that Ahsoka should be in S tier or if Soul should be in B tier. You can reach out to us across social media at Force for Thought, and you can email us at forceforthought@gmail.com.
See you, Sammy.